My name is Bo Whitaker. I'm a veterinarian at Brazos Valley Equine Hospital in Salado, Texas. I've been at this particular practice, this location, for about 14 years now. Being a veterinarian, you're helping horses, but you're really helping people. And so there was kind of a moment that one day that I decided, yeah, this is what I want to do because I want to help people. I'm a pretty healthy person. I'm kind of what they call a biohacker, where I'm always doing different things to myself to try to give myself advantages in my health, and I like to work out and things like that too. So I was pretty familiar with how light affects people's sleep because I was trying to help my own sleep. And so I'd listened to some podcasts and read some articles about how blue light at night before bed keeps us from sleeping well because of it affects our circadian rhythms. So I actually bought myself a pair of glasses that you wear at night before you go to bed to see if it would help me go to bed better and sleep better. And it did. My wife was commenting like how I got too tired. I would wear them, I'd put them on about 8 o'clock and she'd want to stay up and talk, and by 9 I was tired and ready to go to bed. So I really felt like it had an impact on me. And there's plenty of research out there on humans, that shows that, that the blocking that blue light does help us as far as sleep goes. And so I started looking into that and thinking, man, it's got to be the same thing for horses. Horses don't need as much sleep as we do. Horses need about 3.5 hours of sleep a night. But part of that, what they do need is REM sleep. In order to have REM sleep, they have to lay down. And they only need about 30 minutes of this. But if they're at a show under lights and uncomfortable, those horses, I was thinking they've got to be less likely to be able to want to lay down, to feel comfortable with these lights on, and to get that sleep that they need. And the research that had been done so far was pretty much all of it was done in Europe on how lights affect horses. And so they would put horses in barns under lights for 24 to 48 hours at a time. And they would put horses in other barns with no lights. And what they found was, as long as there was light exposure, melatonin levels were suppressed in horses. If it was complete darkness, those horses had melatonin levels elevated the entire time. So the whole goal of the REM mask and a lot of the things that we do is to prevent sleep deprivation. And sleep deprivation is going to lead to significant behavioral problems in horses. Like as I mentioned, 90% of those horses developed injuries in one study that they attributed to the sleep deprivation. There are other things as far as stress goes, gastric ulcers, a lot of things that can be secondary to the stress that you can see from sleep deprivation. So our main goal is to prevent horses from having that and a lot of the secondary issues that may become because of that. Light is what dictates when horses are ready to breed. So you have seasonal breeders like horses, like sheep. And so as the days get longer, it tells their body, okay, this is time to come into heat and start breeding. And so with longer days, you have longer time of suppression of melatonin, and shorter periods of the day where they have melatonin. And so that melatonin, which is a hormone, is a signal to the body to say, okay, let's start releasing these breeding hormones that are going to tell the body it's time to be fertile and time to breed. And so the light drives when horses are ready to breed. And then towards the end of the summer, it shuts them down as well. So their reproductive systems will shut down as those days start to decrease. Early on, this wasn't with my crude first prototype, but this was probably the first or second prototype that we had of the first real prototype with the REM mask. I had a horse that's a jumper that had gone to a show probably a couple of weeks prior to this event and had come to the clinic because it stresses out, can't sleep at shows, and it colicked. And so the owner called me and said, hey, we're going to a show. I just want to let you know, because if this horse colics again, we're going to have to bring him to you. So I just want you to be prepared. And I said, well, let me try this mask. I said, I've got this mask. I said, we've never really tried it in the real world yet. We've just been, pulling melatonin levels on horses. But come by and get it and take it to the show and see if it helps the horse. And so she did. And I called her, I think after the horse had been in a show for a couple of days, and I said, how's he doing? And she says, oh my gosh, this thing's magic. She said, this horse slept. This horse has been calm. He's a different horse. I think he won the show or something. Like she was just ecstatic. So another use that we've recommended and also had people ask us about and use it for is when trailering. And obviously you're going to get some eye protection because it is a solid, it's a vinyl is what it's made out of. So it's going to protect the horse's eyes. We've also had some horses that were real nervous in trailers, and for some reason it seems to have helped those horses not be so anxious in trailers. And I don't have a great explanation for that. We do have a mask that's got one eye blacked out. And so I've been recommending the one eye on some of those horses to mitigate some of the anxiousness in trailers, and that seems to be, in some cases, even more effective where you have one eye blacked out, one eye with the blue light blocker in it. Yeah, so other reasons we might use the one eye blacked out is horses with eye issues. We get some horses where you don't want any light coming into their eye because they're going to be very sensitive to that eye. Or maybe their eye's dilated, or they have other eye issues that are going to be sensitive to light. My hope for this REM mask is to provide people a affordable way to help their horses to recover, to sleep well when they're in stressful environments, when they're trailering, to help them be less anxious. And it's really going to be just an easy way. You can just throw a mask on a horse. I mean, what's easier than that? Horses are already used to having masks on, most of them, that you can just put the mask on, and for very little money, you're able to really make a big difference in your horse's health.